Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Monday, December 18, 2017 City Council meeting to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman McHenry.
Here.
Alderman Glab.
Here.
Alderman Schaefer.
Here.
Alderwoman Condon.
Here.
Alderman Devine.
Here.
Alderman Curry.
Here.
Alderman Santy.
Here. Thank you. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda is a presentation by Garden Quarter Neighborhood Resource Center, presented by Executive Director Guadalupe Ortiz. So if you can step to the podium.
Good evening. Very happy to be here this evening and would like to thank the City Council for an opportunity to speak with you about Garden Quarter Neighborhood Resource Center. I'm Gina Swinney, and I am one of 7 people who serve on the Board of Directors for Garden Quarter. And as many of you know, looking around the table, we opened in 2004. At that time, there was a need for intervention. We had school-aged children who were at risk, and most of them lived in the Garden Quarter neighborhood apartment complex. They were at risk because they were struggling in school, their attendance was poor, and there was beginning to be some involvement with the police department. So, as McHenry does so well, we came together and talked about a way to improve the situation for students at Garden Quarter. Originally, a coalition was formed between the City of McHenry, the police department in particular was involved. As I remember, I believe we even had a police officer who lived at the complex for a while, who was there to kind of be there to monitor. The Latino Coalition, which is no longer a coalition, but at the time was strong, and the school districts came together to talk about what we could do to improve the life for the students who lived in that complex. What happened, in addition to that, the owner of the apartment complex was willing to give, at no charge, space for us to create a resource center, a place for, primarily at that time, kids to come after school to get help with tutoring. There were a lot of reasons that students were at risk in those days. Some had to do with language, being able to speak the language, understand the language, read the language, and also there were cultural differences too. We had a lot of students at that time who were traveling back and forth to Mexico and back to McHenry and missing a lot of their education, so there were holes in what it was that they were learning. So that's how we began, but over the years, it organically grew to be more than that, because what we found as time went by is that once trust was established, parents started to come to the center and ask questions. My child is sick, how do I find a doctor? I've gotten this letter from school and I can't read it. What does it say? So from that grew a parent organization and a teen organization and different programs that grew out of it. So to this date, we have had 6 executive directors in charge of Garden Quarter. And over the years, we've also experienced partnerships with McHenry County organizations that are part of who we are now. And I'm happy to say, as I stand here today, we have, for the first time, a full-time executive director and 3 part-time staff members, and we've moved out of the Garden Quarter apartment complex. We are now located on 120. So a lot has changed since we first began in 2004. The organization has grown, it continues to grow, and we have a vision for where we would like it to be in the future. We appreciate your time tonight, and we're excited to tell you a little bit about what we are currently doing to meet the needs of the low-income residents of our community and our county. So here to fill you in a little bit more, to fill in some details and flesh it out a little bit, I'd like to introduce our Executive Director, Lupe Ortiz.
Thank you, Gina. I would like to add that Gina would be the perfect person to talk to about this because Gina was very a key role into starting Garden Quarter and when we first started in 2004. So thank you for having us tonight. I have been with Garden Quarter for 3 years now as executive director for a year and a half. I started as youth program manager with Garden Quarter a little over 3 years ago. So it's my privilege to kind of talk to you about something that I'm very passionate about, and I would love to talk about the benefits that our kids receive in our programs at Garden Quarter. Not just, and the flyer that I passed out, I'm going to focus on the growth that we've had in the last 3 years. But I would like to say that very exciting time for Garden Quarter because we have 7 high school students that are graduating this year, and those 7 high school students have participated in Garden Quarter programs since 1st grade. So our programs run from 1st grade to 12th grade, so any kids in McHenry County, all of them are from the city of McHenry, but we do offer services to everyone in McHenry County. But from 1st grade to 12th grade is our youth program. But yeah, it's a very exciting time because we do have 7 high school students that are going to graduate and that participated from 1st grade to their senior year. But our 3 programs, our youth program, and like Gina said, and solely our parent program evolved from that. And to focus on our numbers on the growth for the last 3 years. In 2014 to 2015 school year, we were serving 72 kids or students. In 2015 to 2016, it was 129. Last year, 2016 to 2017, it was 188. This year, we have 136 registered. And that doesn't mean that that's all we're going to serve throughout the school year. Last year, our registration at around this time before the holidays was at 89. So we have a lot of kids registered throughout the school year, depending on the needs and academically or things that happen at home. We do get a lot of enrollment throughout the year. Those are our numbers. One thing that I do want to focus on is the strength in our partnership. Back in 2014, we've always had Big Brother Big Sisters come to our site. So we've had our summer program. I think that was the year that we started our summer program. We have a 10-week summer program. So as soon as school starts, we take a week off when school ends, and then a week off right before school starts. But between that whole summer time, we have programming that starts at 12:30 to 5:30. And with that includes our strong partnership with Northern Rye Food Bank. They deliver food to us every day so we can have available, and that's an open site. So you don't even have to be part of our program. Anyone can come and have a lunch or a cold supper at our site. That's a partnership that started in 2015. We have English classes also with our adult programs. We have our bilingual service navigation program, which is we help families navigate through services in McHenry County. And Gina explained a little bit with that, where we were making a lot of referrals to help our kids succeed with the parents, and that referral wasn't being met for some reason, and our navigation helps with that, where if it's a language barrier, if they just didn't know how to fill out the application, they didn't know where to go to turn in the application, things like that, our navigator helps with any of that and make sure that that referral is being completed and that service is being met. So as you can see, our growth a little bit throughout the last 3 years. We've moved. It's been a year and a half since we've been outside of the apartment complex. An interesting fact also that I would like to share: before our move, it was 51% that we were serving outside of the apartment complex. This was before our move. 51% were people outside of the apartment complex, and 49% were within the apartment complex. We haven't done the percentage now, but that was before our move, so now it's probably even a lot higher, that percentage outside of the apartment complex. But it's been a year and a half since we moved outside of the apartment complex, and our numbers have increased a whole lot. even though before our move, Garden Quarter Apartment Complex was probably our highest a neighborhood that we've served here in McHenry. That has also changed a lot. We have a lot of other apartment complex that we're serving. It seems to be that most of our clients live in apartments, but they come from similar apartment complex, not just Garden Quarter, but also other low-income apartment complex here in the city of McHenry. Other things that we would want to share with you guys also, we would want to take the time to share that our name is changing. Based on, we don't feel like Garden Quarter no longer reflects, that name started because we started from the at the apartment complex, but that no longer kind of represents who we are anymore. We wanted someone to look at our name and kind of get a clear idea of what we do. So our name officially will be Youth and Family Center of McHenry County. Another really exciting fact about that, we wanted to add of McHenry County because we also are really proud to say that there's other communities that are kind of seeking out to us and are interested in starting kind of a garden, or looking at our Garden Quarter model and having this available at other cities. So as city councilmen, you should be very proud that the city of McHenry is the first. There has been other movement of other resource centers similar to this, but McHenry, the city of McHenry has been the only one that's been this successful, this long. And I would like to add that I think the success to that is through the partnership and the collaboration that the city of McHenry has had, or Garden Quarter has had through the city of McHenry. We have still with us very active is the police department. We still have police officers that come in a lot throughout the summer, but recently just started coming out throughout the school year. So they come in, our program starts from 2:30 to 5:30, and we have officers come in and play board games with our kids. And it's really neat to see where they come in like periods of like 15 minutes. The officers come in, the first time they came in, they're like, did something happen? Because the officers have their uniform on, and then they're like, well, they're just here to kind of play. And it was really neat to see them playing Uno, and one of the kids coming up to me, Lupe, I just beat an officer at a board game of Uno, and begging them not to leave, and when's the next officer coming in? So things like that are really something that I feel really proud of. That's thanks to the city of McHenry and the police department and the collaborations that we have, where people think, are you guys an after-school program where you provide homework help? And I'm like, well, yeah, we're that, but we're also a lot more. We're also a lot more where we're able to make those connections with with police officers and our kids, or Big Brother, Big Sister, or they're able to come and get food with us, or they're able to come to one of our staff because something happened in their day at school. So, and not even the city involvement that we encourage them, where we have 5Ks. We just had the breast cancer 5K, which is a really big 5K in the county, where we had 15 of our kids run for free. It's that connection that we're able to make, and that help our kids make, that really is meaningful. But like I said, we just maybe in the next 3 years, we're thinking about maybe having different satellites in other cities as other people kind of reach out to us for advice. But we wanted you guys to be the first to know that we are going to change our name. So if you guys hear, Youth and Family Center in McHenry, you guys don't think it's something new. It's us. It's the same us, same programming. We're only going to continue to, strengthen our partnerships, but our programming, our youth program and our parent program aren't going to change. We're only going to expand it and continue our partnership, but there's not going to be major changes. Also, we're thinking about relocating. I know a lot of people have come up to me. I think a lot of people know. I've met with Doug Martin, and I've also met with Chad about this, about our interest in relocating, just because we've reached our capacity in our new space. I call it our new space because it's only been a year and a half, but for those of you that have made it to our site, it's not that big. We have an average of about 35 to 40 kids come in daily, and we have two really big neat programs, neat things about our program. We have kids that come in and that really need academic help, and we have kids that come in that just want a place to hang out, and that's really important for us. Both of those are extremely important for us. We want to keep both of those ends of programs, but in order to have that, we need a bigger space, because we need, if we have a tutoring session and then we have kids that are hanging out just having fun, we want to have a big enough space to run those programs effectively. So we're currently seeking. It's a lot harder than than what it seems, but hopefully our relocation and our new name will be coming up in the next couple months. So thank you for your time, and once again thank you for the help of the collaboration that you guys did back in 2004, but not also then, but also now. I know we've struggled financially, and the city of McHenry were huge supporters in sending letters to the mental health board to continue our programming. So thank you for the continuous support that you do, and I know that will continue for the years to come. So thank you very much.
Thank you for taking the time.
I know I probably went way over my time, but do you guys have any questions that maybe I could answer?
Just really more of a comment. I was on the council when Garden Quarter first started and initiated, and I have always been really supportive, not only as Alderwoman, but also when I was president of Character Crowns Coalition. I haven't been to the new location, but attended quite a few times, came to events and just stopping by. And I think it's wonderful that our community has such a program, and applaud that you're continuing to want to expand and thrive. So.
Thank you. And yeah, anyone's welcome to come into program. Our program is open from 2:30 to 5:30 for our kids, and then from 6 to 8:30 for our adults. But it's all about the community members also being involved in the program. That's so you guys are more than welcome. Just like the police officers come in randomly, I'm sure they would love men with suits, women with suits, professionals that are involved in our city and that are making a difference. And just to hang out and play a board game, or they ask silly questions, and but it's about that connection. So thank you, and like I said, you don't have to wait for an open house. I know people have asked me, are you guys gonna have open house? Please don't wait for an open house. We will have an open house hopefully with our new location and our new name to announce all that, but you guys are more than welcome Monday through Friday, 2:30 to 5:30 to come in and just interact with our kids. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Oh, another question?
Oh, all good. Thank you for your time. I appreciate all you guys do in the community, so thank you. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Is there anyone in the public that would like to make a public comment about any consent agenda items or items that are not on the individual action items? I see none. Moving on to the consent agenda. Is there any council that would like to pull any items before voting on as a whole? Alderman Curry?
Item F.
Any other council would like to pull any other items? See none. At this time, I look for a motion to approve the following consent agenda items: 6A through 6E, and then 6G through 6J. Alderman Conley?
I would make the motion to approve the consent agenda minus item F.
Thank you. Alderman Santee? Second motion. Thank you. Any discussion on these items? Alderman Glenn?
And just on G, on the 4-hour parking, one thing that we didn't include is we do have 5 public parking spaces, I believe, behind the Riverwalk Center. Should we have that incorporated into the 4-hour parking as well?
We did not look at incorporating that when we went through.
I'm sorry.
You're talking about the parking that's in the parking lot behind the Riverwalk Center?
Yes, we have 5 municipal parking spots that we own back there.
We didn't look at that. I was unaware that those were there when I did the study, so we did not look at that.
Okay.
I'd have to
We'll
check
go ahead
to
and
see.
grab that.
I don't think those are listed anywhere in our ordinance prior to that.
Okay.
Anywhere.
Yeah, well, we do have a license agreement with those also.
for those 5 spaces whereby the person with the license pays us, I think it's $1,000 a year for those spaces. We entered into that several years ago.
Do we know which 5 spaces those are?
Yes, the license agreement has an exhibit which depicts the 5 spaces behind the building.
Could you send that to me?
Sure.
Because I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I've asked on a couple of different occasions in the past, so if we could get that to us, that'd be great. Appreciate it, thank you.
Lisa? Any other questions by council? Alderman Curry?
Quick question on the, we had several areas that were 2-hour parking, and we're moving those to basically pretty much 4-hour across the board. I guess it came up at the last meeting, but was there anybody ever figure out why those were 2-hour?
Yeah, in 2014, City Council had voted to make some amendments to the 4-hour and the 2-hour parking. Prior to 2014, 2-hour parking was also on Green Street and Riverside Drive. And I think at the time, the direction that was given to staff at that time was to address the issue on Green Street and Riverside Drive, and therefore that small section on Park Street and Court Street was not addressed at that time. So it's the remaining residual of the 2-hour parking basically in the downtown business district. It was never a concern at that time, as Riverside Drive was and Green Street at the time.
It was just 2 hours because it was 2 hours? I mean, was there a reason for it? Or?
The entire downtown business district was 2 hours.
It was 2 hours at one time?
The entire, everything.
The entire, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And the business owners had, from the downtown business district, if I recall correctly, had come forward to staff, just addressing some concerns that some of their businesses had customers that would be there for more than 2 hours, and that very much limited them on their ability to park on those public streets in the downtown district. So that's why it was brought back to council to upgrade that to 4-hour parking on Green Street, Riverside Drive, and most of the municipal parking lots at that time.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Condon?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Mahavik?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderman Schaper?
Yes.
Alderman Curry?
Yes.
Alderman Devine?
Yes.
Thank you, council. The item that was pulled was 6F, authorization to publicly bid for the municipal mowing contract. This time I'm looking for a motion for that item. Alderman Santee?
I'll make a motion to approve the authorization for the public bid for the municipal mowing contract as presented.
Thank you. Second? Alderman Mahavik?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion on this item? Alderman Curry?
Yes, basically what we're doing here is it appears that we're increasing the amount of contracted mowing by about, well, a little over 70%. And so presumably, we don't know what the quotes are going to be, but presumably we're going to increase our cost by that 70%. I communicated with staff earlier today, back and forth, about what the cost currently is, which I guess is $59,000. So we'd be looking at about a $50,000 increase in contract costs. And I guess the question really is what are we? The only thing we talk about in the presentation is that it would allow for other critical projects and priorities to be pursued. And basically, I know from my time, certainly in business and really in most walks of life, if you're going to spend more money, it's a value proposition. It's like, what are we getting for it? So I guess the question is, rather than just a statement that says it will allow for it, I guess the question is, what are those things that we are going to do? And I guess the value judgment is that then worth $50,000 a year for at least the next 3 years?
Sure. And I'll go ahead and answer a few of these. I mean, I'm a large proponent of this. When we were talking about saving costs and so forth, meeting with Director Schmidt and Director Hobson and also City Administrator Derek Moorfield to discuss on how we can use our skilled labor at a more better use than sitting on a lawnmower. So there's things that we can always be better at. Of course, I will not say that they're not doing their job as public, for Parks and Rec. They've done their job. Is there things that need to be done and we just can't get to them? Absolutely, there's a lot of those. And I'll mention a few things that that we just aren't able to get to, like replacing the brick pavers in downtown areas, new roofs on all the buildings at Knox Park, Peterson, ball fields, and doing that stuff in-house. All light poles on Riverside Drive need to be tightened and cleaned. Major landscape renovation in Riverwalk planning areas, paint bathrooms, gazebos at Betts Park. There's things like that that we can't do because the time that the weather is good, you're out there mowing grass. And these are laborers that are skilled enough to be able to do projects like this. Drain tiles at Lakeland Park ball field, that would be something that they would like to get done. Once again, with only 5 maintenance guys, and I gotta give props to Jeff and Pat Korniak, even though they're superintendents and so forth, they're out there doing a lot of this work as well. Because they don't have the staff and working around the clock to make sure that the stuff that needs to be done is getting done. But I think that, a service to the residents, I think there's things that we could be better at. And this would definitely enhance those opportunities for us to get those other projects done.
Okay, was there any, again, cost comparisons that were done to, we're talking again, at least 50 a year for $150,000 worth of project. Normally what you would do is you would say, okay, some of the things you just mentioned would cost, and again, it's not, you're not getting an actual necessarily a quote, but you're taking a stab at what the costs are to know that, in effect, you're getting your money's worth. So if we were to do those things with apparently contract labor, obviously, those other things you talked about, I mean, what are we looking at in terms of what the cost of the city?
I mean, you can't. There's so many things. I mean, there's things that the staff, the employees of Parks and Rec that go out every day and they see things that they want to get fixed. I mean, you just can't it's hard to put a price tag to that. I mean, you hire one employee at, with benefits around $75,000, there's gonna be savings, 100%, but to put there and put dollar amounts to something that we really don't know, it's kind of tough to do. And I understand for you all to make the decision to pass, this. I guess you're gonna. It's a trusting thing that we're gonna make a huge, progress on making the parks. I mean, we just did this whole thing about what the community wants and needs assessment in parks and in rec. I mean, that's a huge thing, and we could be better. And I think this is the way to do that. Personal opinion. Alderman Glad.
Yeah, just remember that Parks and Rec analyzation was only what 3% of the city?
Yeah, but
it's 3% of the city.
Okay.
Mayor, so let's,
Thank you.
please, let's just not push that too much because it is such a small number that we got back. I agree with you on everything else, but that part I got caught you on. The thing that I have as far as the question though is as far as the mowing contract goes, let's say we have a dry summer and you have a week or two here or there that's so dry that nothing's growing, everything just kind of dries up. Are we still paying for mowing?
No, we have called them off before.
Are we going to have that in the contract?
It is in the contract.
So there
It's
is
a cost and price, and we can call them off, and we have done that.
Okay, good. That's all I got.
Alderman comment.
I'll just comment that this is a discussion that we've had several times over the last few years, and I guess while it would be nice that if we had that cost comparison, I think it's fairly easy to be able to assume that there's going to be a cost savings because our staff is going to, who have expertise in a variety of different things, are not just going out and cutting the grass. And I'm somewhat familiar with some other areas of government and cutting the grass, and while it's great if you can do it in-house, and it does, that's great, but we have so many different parks, and I just think that this is long in coming to outsource this and use our staff where we can get some other maintenance and projects done that have been put off for years.
Thank you. And I'll also say, lawn equipment wear and tear. that's got money tied to that as well, so. Any other questions? Alderman Gleb?
Yeah, just don't advertise that too much because then the bids will be higher. It is gonna come back to council, correct? After you
Yes.
get the contract, you
Yeah,
gotta come back
yes, yes.
for approval, so, I think any cost savings or whatever, I think, whether personnel and finance would want to, that committee would wanna look at it, or if staff would just wanna, address those concerns, I think that would be appreciative, because they've got time before that contract comes back. I don't think it has to be a real detail, but a little bit of an analysis. That's all, I mean, you know, I'm not saying it's conditioned on this, but all I'm saying is there is a little bit of time in between the time we go for the proposal, the time we get the contracts back here, that could be looked at a little bit.
May I raise a hand to council? Is that what you would like us to do as far as staff to do that? To bring back cost savings? I mean, I don't know how you're gonna do that. I mean, but if that's what you.
I do have some raw numbers
Yeah.
I worked on.
Okay.
So if we look at the cost of our current mowing contract, and I've been very, very conservative, I think our savings is gonna be greater than this. Our cost to have it contracted out overall is about $19.80 an acre. I based it on an acre. And then we figured out our labor only, and it was for mowing Peterson Park. It was 2 full-time employees and a summer help. And it came to about $26 an acre. And that didn't include equipment cost or fuel. So the additional 100 acres, and like I said, I'm very conservative here. I think we're gonna realize more savings in this. So that would come to about $620 a week for that additional 100 acres of savings. So we mow about 21 times a year. So that comes to a little over 13,000 that we would save contracting out the additional 100 acres. And like I say, I'm confident we'll save more than that. I'm very conservative in my numbers.
Okay.
Thank you, Director Schmidt. And that's the type of thing, that's all I was looking for, really, is that type of thing. When we say, well, it's easy to know that we're going to save money, it's also easy to quantify. And I think that, you know, we have very good people around the table, and it's just a simple exercise to do so. So I guess that's really what I'm looking for, is whenever we propose something like this, is that there is a cost benefit. Now, you might not be able to put dollars on everything, but this one certainly lends itself to some really hard dollar numbers. It's just a matter of doing it.
And unlike the other work that Mayor Chet talked about, landscaping maintenance is not prevailing wage. So that's our.
Thank you.
Any other questions by council on this item? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Santi?
Yes.
Alderman Mahavik?
Yes.
Alderman Schaefer?
Yes.
Alderman Devine?
Yes.
Alderman Curry?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderwoman Condon?
Yes.
Thank you, council. Next item on the agenda is individual action item to approve an application for a Class A liquor license from Anthem Real Estate LLC, DBA Smith Central Garage located at 3315 Pearl Street, an adoption of an ordinance amending Municipal Code Chapter 4, increasing the number of Class A liquor licenses in effect from 30 to 31. We have the applicant, John Smith. We had met with him, Derek Moorfield and I, to typical routine as background checks, fingerprints, and they're clean. So, John, if you would like to come up, I'm going to open up for discussion and questions for John Smith by council. Any questions? Alderman Curry?
Yeah, I got a question. I think I understand what it says here, but just to clarify. So when it's rented for a private party, then there is no, you know, wine tasting or package sales at that point. Is that correct? Is that what I understood from this?
Correct.
Okay. And then when it's used for the other, obviously it's not a private party. Okay. The other question I guess I would have, do you have any intentions of video gaming?
Pardon?
Video gaming, do you have any intentions of that?
Not now. I mean, I haven't really thought about it. I would doubt it. Doesn't mean something might change in the future, but we're not gonna be open, I mean, just only on weekends and events, so I don't think it's gonna make any sense to do anything like that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Alderwoman Condon?
Is this license just for beer and wine?
No, it's a full beer.
It's full liquor.
Yeah.
Okay,
Full liquor.
It's, yep.
okay, thank you.
Alderman Santos?
I'm not sure if this is for Mr. Smith or the staff. Prior to this, everything was done individually, right? Temporary liquor permits for whatever activities were at the facility?
Yeah,
You know,
yes.
everything was
Yeah.
done that way, okay. All right, just, thank you.
Any other questions? Is there anyone in the public that would like to make public input on this item? I see none. Going back to council, looking for a motion to approve an application for a Class A liquor license from Anthem Real Estate LLC, DBA Smith Central Garage located at 3315 Pearl Street. An adoption of an ordinance amending municipal code, chapter 4, increasing the number of Class A liquor licenses in effect from 30 to 31. Alderman Schaefer?
I'll make that motion as just presented.
Thank you. Second by Alderman Santee.
I will second the motion.
Any questions before we,
I mean, this is what any banquet facility or any other related facility that already offers the banquet option does already, so I think it just makes perfect sense.
Thank you. Any other questions, discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Schaefer?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Devine?
Yes.
Alderwoman Condon?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderman Mahavik?
Yes.
Alderman Curry?
Yes.
Thank you, council. Good luck. Thank you.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Next item on the agenda is discussion to approve an application submitted by Barkin Bath House LLC located at 1126 North Green Street for a revolving loan in the amount of $20,000 as recommended by the Finance and Personnel Committee. I'm going to pass this over to Doug for, if you could present this item.
Thank you, Mayor. Council is being asked to consider a request for $20,000 from DIY Barkin Bath House Inc. proposed at 1126 Green Street. The applicants are here to answer any questions. Myself, this item was presented before the Finance and Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Doug. Any questions, discussion on this item? Alderwoman.
I'll just say that, how could you say no to that? Jeez. No way.
I did say I was from Chicago.
Alderman Santee.
Love the business plan, love the idea. Just to confirm, there'll be no training at this location, is that correct?
In terms of dog training?
Dog training,
pet
yeah.
No, nope,
Okay.
nope. I don't want to get into a whole lot of things that require a lot of people or people to come in. I want it to be more standalone than anything.
Okay, but you will have some sales of product like pet supplies, toys, meat, food, whatever.
Yeah, the pet treats are going to be predominantly frozen, so they'll be in frozen vending machines, so they'll keep, they're not MSG or anything filled with them, they're not organic, but by the same token, you don't want them to degrade their shelf life by just putting them outside in the store without them being frozen.
Okay, but I mean, are you going to offer just regular supplies if I need supplies for my, food for?
I don't know that I'll get into food, in terms of bags of food, that type of thing. I don't know that I'll get there. It's
Okay.
more pet treats, pumpkin bars, natural type treats for pets.
Okay,
Yep,
all right, thank you.
you're welcome.
Alderman Schaefer.
I have several questions, but I have to hold the puppy while I ask.
And they're available for Christmas delivery.
I just wanted to clarify, you did a fantastic job when you came to the committee, but the dollars that you show on your application are like 136,000, but then on the reiteration from Mr. Bussey for the bank thing, it shows 100,000 total with the 20. So what's the?
The 100 to 120 is mainly my investment, my
Okay.
personal investment. When we submitted, we were doing a lot of estimates at that point in terms of, I didn't have the final cost of the machines, for instance. Today I received the final cost for the machines, about 52 to 55,000 for what I need at the store. The rest are vending machines, the stuff for the kitchen, and then the labor for the build out.
And your goal still is to have 3 machines at that store location. You had talked about buying more for possible other locations around and things, which that would be separate of this.
Yeah, that's more of a growth plan type of
Okay.
thing. I'm trying to save money in a way. I'm working very closely with the US distributor who's been named recently. As I had mentioned to you, these machines are distributed and manufactured in Australia. So to bring them over on a container is anywhere between 5,000 and 7,000 just for the container. That doesn't matter whether you're getting 1 machine or 7 machines.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to maximize that in terms of how many machines that I buy so that as this grows, I can target places like veterinary offices or car washes, those types of things.
And did you get a favorable information back because you didn't have that? Now you got prices and everything?
I have prices, I have a finalized agreed upon lease, and we're ready to roll. Other than the permits, being the holiday, it's a little tough getting everybody to get everything in, but Ryan and Guy have been really good about coming in to the space and telling me what I need. It's not significant. The build out isn't really significant, it's like 1 wall, because the landlord wants us to separate, obviously, the kitchen from the customer area, but I do too. But also we need to secure it so that if I'm not there, I may be at Buddy's Ease or something like that.
Sure.
People come in, I can secure the back from the front so nobody can get to the common areas.
And the plan is still to have it be pretty much you could come in without any attendant or there,
Right.
you know, that's why I was thinking too from what Alderman Santee was asking, it's not gonna be like a pet supply store, because it's not gonna have, maybe something in vending, in your
Right.
vending thing, but.
Nothing that people can really walk off with kind of
Right,
thing.
right, right.
Yeah, unless they've got a, forklift or something, but the machines are 500 pounds a piece anyway. We'll have, as I had mentioned in the finance committee, we'll have fences around those. I've already bought the security system, so I think we're pretty well ready to go, but just don't want to entice anyone to, walk off with, whether they're collars or leashes, those kind of things. And if I do decide to sell those in the future, I would keep them behind the counter rather than in front.
And it's gonna have hours, it's not gonna be like
Yeah.
open doors 24 hours.
No,
or anything.
no. We've thought, and I have talked to the landlord about potential key card access for folks that maybe if I'm not there at 8 in the morning, they want to come in at 8 in the morning and I know them, they've filled out an application, they can use a key card to get in, but that's sometime in the future. We're not there yet.
Did you actually order the machines then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I've agreed to the quote, and now it's up to Paul to get it going, but I've got a 40 to 65 day leeway.
Okay.
So by the time that they get them ready and then get them all crated and on a ship, and then they come over into California, and then they're railed into Illinois, and then we have a truck picking them up here, and then they'll deliver them more than likely in my home rather than the space, because you don't know the time frame. If customs hold us up or something like that, then really. So yeah, it's easier that way, and I have several of my son's buddies who are always willing to help, and whether we need to rent a lift truck or whatever, we can do that.
And they're all built, right, when they come?
Yes,
Yeah.
completely built. The only thing that's missing is the skins on the back with my marketing. We're working on that right now. We'll send that over in an electronic file, and then they'll get those all set up and ready to go. And I did make a mistake with Mr. Bussey. I wasn't clear whether they accept Apple Wallet, Google Wallet, Android Wallet, but they all do. So I'll have credit card, cash in the store, debit card, any credit card, Amex, and all the wallet flavors.
Great, thank you. I wish you the best of luck.
Thanks.
Alderman Santee.
What attracted you to that location?
I've been looking, so I've been in corporate America for, 27 years, predominantly in pharma. That changed in 2015. And I had to really resign myself and say, do I want to go back and do that job again, or do I want to do something else? So I've been looking at commercial space for 2 years. The problem is you can't get any of them to call you back. And if they do call you back, so if you think Dominic's in Fox Lake, well, they still have a lease, so they're not really interested in calling you back because they're still making rent, right? So it's really difficult to get some of the commercial folks to call you back to even start the conversation of where to be. It just so happened I was down there for a dine-in share for a very good friend of the family who passed away last year. And I'm like, cupcakes over there, pizza over here. And I took a picture of the name, and Olivia called me back the next day, and we've been on it since. So it just felt like the right thing that happened at the right time.
Okay, thank you. Wish you all the best.
Thank you. Bring your dogs.
Any other questions from council? Alderman Glad?
I just want to state that I commend you for the fact of what you're doing and the fact that you're willing to risk what you really believe in. And I just like to see new entrepreneurs in our downtown area. And with that, I'm not going to ask whether you're going to have video gaming or not because you're not coming in for a liquor license.
Yeah. I hear Buddy D's wants
That's the
it.
proverbial question. But it may be, because a lot of people do, when they bring family, they usually introduce them and give us a little rundown on them, on the guy.
Oh, this guy?
Yeah.
So
Everybody's
have
kind of
been-
commented about him, so.
Would you like me to pass her around? I have been a Newfoundland dog breeder for about 20 years. On and off, and really, again, 2 years ago, started rebuilding my program. So I have two. I have Blackhawk, who is my sire, and Stella, who is my female. They've had 3 litters in about 2.5 years. This little girl and her brothers and sisters weren't planned this time. So it kind of blew away my holiday. That's okay. So I'm going to continue the breeding program. It's something I really enjoy and I love. And even in the business plan, I said, I got my dad on my shoulder now saying, it's about time, you're getting a little old. You might want to do what you really love. So Blackhawk himself has had 36 he's sired in the last 3 years. Stottie's Farms, female for 1. So this little girl, I just sold one of her brothers yesterday, and they're about 4 weeks old right now and getting ready for shots and getting ready for their new homes. And 2 will be under Christmas trees this year.
And how big at mature?
I'm sorry?
How big are they at mature?
Blackhawk's 190 pounds. He stands up, his nose is here. And then Stella is about 105, lab size, that kind of thing.
Tegan would love one of those for Christmas, Chief.
I might say, I'm being serious about this. Newfoundlands are water rescue dogs. They can smell cadavers 100 feet down in the water.
It's very impressive.
I mean, for all the water that is around this place, and we don't have water rescue dogs up here, it's kind of surprising. And so I did.
Chief.
It is. I mean, we know we have shepherds, right? But I live in Johnsburg, but I also live in Dutch Creek Estates, and some of you may have been aware.
That's still
But some people say that it's its own zip code, but I'm being serious. A lot of you, or some of you may have known Rocky Roarig, Pat Roarig, who went down in one of our ponds while playing hockey with his 15-year-old son about 5 years ago, I think it is now. Had I had a Newfoundland and that was, water rescue trained, we might have had a chance. So, something to think about, Chief. And you know where to get your dog.
You know where to get the dog.
That's right.
Any other questions, discussion on this item? Okay, so there's no one in the public for public input, so at this time, looking for a motion to approve the application submitted by Barkin Bath House LLC located at 1126 North Green Street for a revolving loan in the amount of $20,000 recommended by the Finance and Personnel Committee. Alderman Santi?
I will make that motion as presented.
Thank you. Second? Alderman Curry?
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion before we vote? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Curry?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderman Schaefer?
Yes.
Alderman Mahavik.
Yes.
Alderman Devine.
Yes.
Alderwoman Condon.
Yes.
Thank you, council. We wish you luck.
Thank you, and thanks to everybody for all of your help. It's been phenomenal, phenomenal. So we'll be open in a couple months. Bring your pets, come down, pets in the living
I'm bringing a cat.
Have a good evening.
I think you should have special hours for cats versus dogs.
If you want to bring a cat and put him in the machine, you are more than welcome. It's up to you. And how that works. He's
All right.
not really paid.
The next item on the agenda is discussion regarding a partnership with the PACE Suburban Bus Dial-A-Ride Voucher Program with the McHenry Township for the term of 1 year for $4,800. Doug, can you please present this item?
Thank you, Mayor. Council is being asked to consider approving a partnership with McHenry Township in order to provide transition senior bus voucher program. I want to clarify the recommendation from the Finance and Personnel Committee, just a staff error in the supplement. The committee chose to partner with McHenry Township for 1 year and purchase their $1 per ride vouchers, 4.50 cents per ride. Assuming 20 riders and 40 rides per month, the cost to the city would be $4,800 for 2018. If the city council concurs, this would be the committee recommendation. If to the council, the city council concurs with the Finance and Personnel Committee, is recommended a letter be sent to current voucher users beginning January 1st, 2018. The city would provide up to 40 vouchers or rides per month to qualified seniors, which would be provided through McHenry Township. Until approximately December 3rd, 2018, the free vouchers could only be picked up at the municipal center.
And I guess the rest of the clarification was from the finance and personnel that you would then reconsider extending it or decide at that time what we wanted to do with the program at the end of that time.
Any discussion, questions, concerns on this item? This time, I'm looking for a motion to approve a partnership in the PACE Suburban Bus Dial-A-Ride Voucher Program with the McHenry Township for the term of 1 year for $4,800. Alderman Mahavik?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Can I have a second? Alderman Santi?
I'll second the motion.
Discussion on this item? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Mahavik.
Yes.
Alderman Santi.
Yes.
Alderwoman Condon.
Yes.
Alderman Devine.
Yes.
Alderman Curry.
Yes.
Alderman Schaefer.
Yes.
Alderman Glad.
Yes.
Thank you, council.
Thank you.
The next item is staff reports. Is there any staff reports this evening? No. Next is mayor and city council comments. I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And I appreciate everyone what you've done in 2017. On behalf of council and staff, I'm excited for 2018 and what we'll accomplish here. So, thank you. I'll pass it on to city council for comments. Alderman Schaefer.
I just want to say thanks for putting that, pretty sure it was Bill, put that survey from the National Parks and Recreation Association survey. That 2017 survey results in our recent Friday packet. It actually is very large and has a lot of information, but the summary is really good for especially what we've been talking about here as a council. So if you haven't looked at it, I recommend everyone to check that out. It's got some more pertinent analytical stuff that you would love.
I read.
No comment.
Thank you, Alderman Schaefer. Any other council? Alderman Devine?
Yeah, I'd like to take a moment to, last week, great McHenry citizen passed away, Kirk Bremer. If anyone was in baseball over the last 40 years, McHenry, he was umpire for generations and did a lot of good things in the community.
Agreed.
Yes.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. At this time, I need a motion to enter executive session. Alderman Schaefer?
Make that motion.
Second? Alderman Curry?
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Schaefer.
Yes.
Alderman Curry.
Yes.
Alderman Glad.
Yes.
Alderman Santi.
Yes.
Alderwoman Condon?
Yes.
Alderman Devine?
Yes.
Alderman Mahavik?
Yes.